Do you think twice about picking up your purse on Sunday morning? Well, the Old Testament tells us to not work on the Sabbath, and for some of us, lifting a purse, or anything else for that matter, is considered work. Welcome to Calm in the Chaos Interfaith Center, where I do indeed carry my purse on Sunday. I also shop for groceries and mow the lawn on Sundays. But not everyone feels that that's acceptable. When I was a child, I clearly remember my maternal grandmother chiding my father for mowing the lawn on Sunday afternoon. Now, Dad never watched sports on TV, so sometimes he squeezed in mowing between church and our weekly visit to said grandmother for the 4 o'clock dinner. He often worked the other 6 days and needed to mow on Sunday, or else we would have lived in a meadow. But was he doing something that harmed his relationship with God? Was he sacrificing his spiritual growth because he worked on Sunday? Last year, the Supreme Court heard the case of Gerald Groff, a post office employee from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, who wanted Sundays off but was denied by his boss. He claimed religious persecution. Believing that we should never be in a position of having to choose between our faith and our jobs, his lawyers took it all the way to the Supreme Court, and they won. Sabbath keeping is a weekly activity. If you follow a Judeo-Christian history, you learn that God worked for 6 days and rested on the seventh day. It's a day of sitting back and looking at your life, evaluating your life, and making new plans or course corrections if need be. Now, the seventh day of the week has different meanings for different people. Currently, Jews and Seventh day Adventists hold that Sabbath is from sundown on Friday to sundown on Saturday. The first Christians also held that Sabbath was Saturdays. But then in the year 321, Constantine the Great changed the day of worship from Saturday to Sunday. This practice spread throughout the Roman Empire and now is the Christians' Sabbath day throughout the world. Behaviors and spiritual practices vary greatly among people who keep a Sabbath. Some people show up for worship, sit in a pew, contribute financially, and go to lunch, giving little thought the rest of the week about spiritual growth or an entire day of rest. Some of our neighbors cannot afford to take off work to worship on Saturday or Sunday. Supporting their families means that they work many Saturdays and Sundays, and they may wish that there was ever a day of rest. On the other hand, the other end of the spectrum, we have our friends who are Orthodox Jews who not only keep the Sabbath day free of employment obligations, they do no work whatsoever on the Sabbath. No mowing, no cooking, no driving, no using electricity, doing the laundry, building, or repairing anything. So, what do you do all day? Pray, read, be with your family, go for a walk. Does this sound old-fashioned? Well, to some people it surely does, but this is how Orthodox Jews live in the 21st century, following many of the laws laid down in the time of Moses. But the Sabbath is more than just following a set of rules. It's a way of life. Keeping the Sabbath means stepping away from the other 6 days of whatever is your norm. It means resting from the grind, stepping off the treadmill, and using the time to look inward. The three legs of the wholesome life are balance, respect, and responsibility. And keeping Sabbath helps us to maintain balance in our lives. My neighbors were raised in the Roman Catholic tradition. They have never once attended Mass in the years I've known them, but they have traditions on Sundays that define how they keep the Sabbath. They're avid gardeners and they're old car collectors, but they do no gardening work, nor do they lift the hood of a vehicle on Sundays. They prepare a huge Italian meal for the afternoon and quite often have friends and family join them. Their homemade pizza is unparalleled. This is how they keep their Sabbath. Several pastor friends of mine designate a day during the week as their Sabbath because Sundays are work days for them, filled with obligations of sermon preparation, organizing a worship service, and visiting shut-ins. Joan designates Monday. Ben's Sabbath is Wednesdays. It doesn't matter when you honor a sacred time to step out of your world and meditate, read, pray, listen to music, play your guitar, walk in the woods. It matters that you honor the need in your life for such a regularly planned time. Another religious group that follows strict rules of behavior is the Amish. Amish women always wear a cap. It's a rather stiffly starched cap and it's pinned on daily over hair that has never been cut. It's parted down the middle and is wrapped in little rolls and buns at the back of the head. Wearing this cap is their way of following a biblical guideline that says when you're in prayer, your head should be covered. And they believe that every minute of their lives is prayerful. So I ask, what are the rules or guidelines or laws that govern your life? Do you eat meat but not on Fridays? Do you refrain from wearing clothing that mixes linen and polyester? Do you not eat pork? Do you always cover your hair when in public? Do you pray at regular intervals every day? Do you pray before your feet hit the floor each morning? Do you practice yoga every day? Do you wear a certain piece of jewelry to keep you connected? Do you take a walk every day? Do you go to a soup dinner on Wednesdays during Lent? Maybe carrying your purse on Sundays isn't an issue for you, but it might be worth articulating what is and isn't in your own personal spiritual guidebook. Having a pattern to how we behave may give us a structure for our spiritual lives. Our Muslim friends are in the middle of the month of Ramadan, with the spiritual practice of fasting being maximized right now. There is no food or beverage intake between sunup and sundown, followed by a meal late at night. Many prayers are prayed, and the fasting reminds the participants of their closeness to God. The fasting contributes to what is called in Arabic tazkiyah, which means emptying out, cleaning out, and it can lead to a purification of the heart. Having a daily spiritual practice is a mini Sabbath. Having a whole day of rest that takes us out of our other 6-day norm is a weekly Sabbath. Whatever suits your spiritual and physical life is up to you to decide, but taking a Sabbath, giving yourself permission to not be on duty all the time, is yet another way for us to hold on to our calm in the world's chaos. Blessings on all.